With the first Monster Hunter Wilds beta here, it's only natural that we put out a video that has all the best new mechanics and new combos for every weapon in Monster Hunter. Now, as I played the demo at PAX West and tested multiple weapons, and as I am a 20-year veteran of the Monster Hunter series, I am so very proud to be able to bring you all of these new mechanics and new attacks for all these weapons. Disclaimer number 1. Not all weapons are alike in the Monster Hunter series. If you're a series veteran yourself, you might already know that, but if you're a newcomer to the Monster Hunter series or you're not familiar with all of the weapons, some weapons make use of combos more so than others. Some combos with certain weapons are literally non-existent. But more importantly, some weapons aren't about the combos. It's about understanding how to get some of the best damage and understanding the new combo routes to give you the best playstyle that suits you and you alone. And as there are 14 weapons in the Monster Hunter series, we're going to keep it very short and simple on the best findings that I've gotten from every single weapon in this beta. Disclaimer number 2. If you're looking for a certain weapon to suit your needs in this very long video of mine, there's timestamps down below. Now, without further ado, let's get into our first weapon of the video and the tried and true weapon of the Monster Hunter series, the weapon that every main character uses on the front covers of the games, the Greatsword. Starting with the Greatsword, we have the tried and true 3-hit combo. An overhead slash into a wide slash into a rising slash. We can change this combo up as we need, and we can press whatever button and it'll basically all flow into each other. Otherwise, the Greatsword does stay simple with a true charge slash combo. Pressing triangle 3 times in a row, and holding a charge down and letting go on the 3rd charge with perfect timing leads to the true charge slash. Tried and true, simple, and not really much has changed except for this bad boy. Wooyah! The Greatsword with the rising slash now has a charged rising slash called the offset rising slash. Now, something to notice about this attack is that if you miss at first, it actually hits on the back. And let's not forget the focus mode. Holding the left trigger and pressing the right bumper gets you the perforate attack with the Greatsword. What's nice about the focus mode with the Greatsword is that you're actually able to change your charge swings. So if we do the first couple of attacks, but we decide we want to hit a monster behind us, so we can start holding the left trigger, and we can actually change the trajectory of our true charge slash. If you want to get into the true charge slash even quicker, you can actually do something known as the tackle. There's a few ways to access the tackle. First, you can guard with your Greatsword. Yes, that's right, the Greatsword can guard. You can press triangle to do a kick, and then press triangle again to go straight into the tackle. And it'll lead you into the second swing of the true charge slash combo. And you get straight into the TCS, just like this. While your weapon is unsheathed, you can also roll and press triangle to go straight into a tackle. And the same thing. You can also actually just start charging your first slash, tackle again after the second slash, and go straight into TCS. Next, taking a look at the Longsword. The Longsword actually got a couple new moves. The first thing you'll notice is that your triangle combo actually has changed. It does 2 overhead slashes into a crescent slash, back into the overhead slash. Now, the circle button still does a normal thrust attack, but if you press it again, you actually get your rising slash. Of course, we are utilizing the spirit gauge in the top left. For those who already played Longsword, you already know what to do, but for the newcomers, what we have to do is that we have to charge our gauge up, and then we can press the right trigger over and over again to get the spirit blade combo. 3 presses, landing with a 4th one, gets us the spirit round slash. Our gauge upgrades from white to yellow to red. A typical normal combo with the Longsword will now just be pressing triangle and triangle until we get the crescent slash. Then we start pressing the circle button as much as we want. The Longsword's actually pretty nice because you can just do this infinitely, and it really isn't going to matter what you want to do. Now, as you notice, the animations take longer, but they do more damage. The circle buttons are quicker, and you can react at a moment's notice if you need a smaller recovery on your attacks. We're in the white buff right now, but when our gauge is filled in the top left, we can do the Spirit Blade combo. This is done by pressing the right trigger 3 times, and then pressing it for the 4th time to end with a Spirit Round Slash. Using the Spirit Round Slash combo will consume a lot of the inside of your gauge in the top left corner, as you can see, right here. It's going to expend as we do these attacks. When you're doing the Spirit Round Slash combo, you can even hold a direction to the left or right to change your trajectory as needed. I'm so sorry, Artemis. And of course, after the Spirit Blade combo, we can press the right trigger and the X button at the same time to get into the Special Sheath. The Special Sheath can actually be done out of any attack. The quickest way to get into it is by doing a thrust. Pressing the triangle button will actually give you a buff that refills your gauge over time. As we are in the red buff though, you'll notice that it actually doesn't do anything for us. Only in the yellow or the white gauge or the no gauge will it actually give us a buff. We can also press the right trigger to do the EA Spirit Slash. The EA Spirit Slash used to take a meter, but it actually doesn't take meter anymore. This is a move that's used to counter an enemy's oncoming attack. Now, what's really new about the Longsword is when you are in the red buff, our attacks actually change. You'll see in the top right, it actually says Crimson Slash 1 now, giving us an extra attack on all of our button presses. Now, going over the red gauge, actually, it always is going to continuously decrease. Even doing the Spirit Blade combo doesn't take away from it. So you have a limited amount of time to actually get your finisher move with the Longsword. Now, the quickest way to get your meter filled is by pressing triangle twice, and then pressing triangle at the circle at the same time to get the Fade Slash. We get a full bar of meter from that, and we can go straight into our Spirit Round Slash combo. By pressing the right trigger and the triangle button at the same time, we get something known as the Helm Splitter attack. The Helm Splitter actually has a follow-up attack now, though, too. By pressing the right trigger after this, we get the Spirit Release Slash. Note that the Spirit Release Slash now actually takes a whole bar as well. So doing the Spirit Helm Breaker and the Spirit Release Slash put us all the way down to white bar. The Sword and Shield remains pretty similar to all the other incarnations. The Sword and Shield has very fluid and movement-based attacks, with pretty short recovery on them. Pressing the triangle button over and over will get you a 4-hit combo. Pressing the circle button will actually get you a 3-hit combo. This combo does more damage for 3 hits, and indeed ends faster, but the recovery on some of those attacks is actually longer than the recovery on some of these attacks. So in a short period of time, press the circle attack combo for the best damage. If you have a longer period of time, it's better to go for the triangle attack. But what's great about this is actually that you can mix it up. We can do 2 triangle attacks into the circle attacks. Or we can do the circle attacks into the triangle attacks. And now we can do it again. By pressing the triangle and circle button, we can actually get an advancing slash. You can be in neutral state or running when you press this button, and you'll get a quick hop. You can then chain this attack into your normal combos, of course. Now, Sword and Shield can build up stun attacks on a monster's head. If we hold our movement stick in a direction and then press circle, we'll actually get a shield bash combo. This can also be chained out of any attack. By finishing any typical combo with the Sword and Shield, we can press triangle and circle at the same time, and instead of an advancing slash, we'll actually get the spinning Reaper. If we follow this up by pressing the triangle and circle button again after it, and charge it, we'll get the Charge Chop. This is looking to be the Sword and Shield's best damage in a short amount of time. Now, the piece de la resistance, by pressing back and circle at the same time, we can actually get a back hop, which leads into new attack combo opportunities. To get into the back hop, we can also press the guard button and press back and circle at the same time. Pressing nothing will result in the leaping slash, which also has other combo attack opportunities. Triangle is the falling slash, which is good for mount damage. Pressing circle is the falling shield bash, which does blunt damage and does a considerable amount of damage. And finally, pressing a combination of triangle and circle will get us the plunging thrust, a new attack in Monster Hunter Wilds. But that's not all. We can also do our focus attack strike out of the air with this. If we press the focus attack button combination, we can do it in the air just like that. Now finally, out of the back hop, we can do the perfect rush combo. You have to time the button presses by pressing triangle over and over again at the right time to get the best damage. This also leads into a jumping attack. But finishing up this combo, we can actually do the spinning Reaper combo. Now starting off with the dual blades. The dual blades does have typical triangle and circle combos, but these combos aren't too useful. Maybe in a longer guide we'll cover these attacks. Instead, let's go straight into what the dual blades does the best. So much of the longsword, we have a gauge that we can fill up in the top left. But to do this, we have to activate our demon mode. Pressing the right trigger activates demon mode. Entering demon mode consumes stamina at a rapid pace. But through the use of demon mode, we can get way better attack combos. Pressing triangle over and over again will get you the 6-fold demon slash. Pressing circle over and over again will get you the Demon Flurry Rush. Now what's different about the dual blades now is that doing the Demon Flurry is actually the Blade Dance 1. It actually ends a bit prematurely, as you can see. Right there. So if we do it again and we press the triangle and circle again, we can continue the combo. Into the Blade Dance 3, which looks way cooler, does a lot more damage, and it's an actual combo attack. You'll notice that our gauge actually fills on the dual blades as we do attacks. But only when we do it in Demon mode. If we do it outside of Demon mode, it doesn't do anything. Going straight into Demon mode and filling our gauge is our first priority. Now that we have our gauge all the way filled, we actually have a damage buff, and when we go back to our normal state, we enter the Archdemon state, which retains some of the properties of Demon mode. And talking about the Blade Dance further, you'll notice that we can actually press the right trigger as well. This will put us back into Archdemon state, which is actually our normal state. Pressing triangle and circle gets us a Demon Flurry combo without having to be in Demon mode. The best attack combo that we can do is by doing the Blade Dance 1 and pressing right trigger over and over again to switch between the states. Pretty flashy and pretty sick, huh? One thing to note about the Archdemon state's Demon Flurry attacks is that they actually have some mobility. If you hold a direction, you'll actually go in that direction when you do your next follow-up attack. Ah yes, the Ham Bam. The first thing you'll notice is that your attack combos are way faster with the hammer. Pressing triangle over and over again will get us the golf swing combo. Pressing the circle button over and over will get us the Big Bang combo. If we hold down the right trigger, we actually can charge up our hammer at the cost of some stamina as long as we're charging. What's nice about the hammer is that we can move while this happens. As you may have noticed, there are 3 levels of charge when we are charging. Letting go of the right trigger will get us the Charge Big Bang attack. New to Monster Hunter Wilds is that when you're moving with the hammer and you release the right trigger, it used to go into the Spinning Bludgeon attack, but that is no more. We still go back into the Charge Big Bang. But you will notice in the top right that we can actually go into Spinning Bludgeon out of the Big Bang attack by pressing triangle and circle at the same time. The Spinning Bludgeon actually ends on itself if you don't press any buttons. But if we press a button in between the Spinning Bludgeon attack, at different times, we'll get different follow-ups. The hammer even has better mobility now. As we are charging, we can use our hook slinger to do the charge step by pressing the circle button. This takes a considerable amount of stamina, so be careful using this. But every time we do a charge step, it actually adds a charge level to our hammer, which means that you can get all of your charge at a moment's notice and close in on the enemy. Now for old Monster Hunter players, the power charge is actually gone now. In its place, we have the Mighty Charge. By pressing triangle and circle at the same time, when we are at a level 3 state, we enter Mighty Charge. If we keep holding down the right trigger and press those buttons, we'll get into this bad boy. You can continue this indefinitely as long as you have stamina, as you can see. And of course, we just have to release to get the Mighty Charge Slam. And of course, we can go into Spinning Bludgeon as well. One thing to note about Mighty Charge is that it doesn't do attacks, even though it looks like it probably should with the spinning of the hammer. Now, one other thing to note as well is the Mighty Charge actually has different levels of attacks, just like the normal charging of the hammer. If we release early, we'll get a Mighty Charge upswing. If you are in a tight window on a monster knockdown or something like that, getting a quick charge out of your hammer and pressing triangle, getting the charge follow-up, and going straight into the Big Bang combo is your go-to attack. Now from here, we can either do the Big Bang finisher and call it early and go into the Spinning Bludgeon, depending on how the situation looks. Or we can do the same combo, but we can actually go into the Mighty Charge. And then we can still go back into the Spinning Bludgeon attack. I'm assuming anybody watching the hunting horn part of this video is probably a horn main already. But if you're not, I'll give you a very, very quick and simple rundown. In the top right, you'll see the triangle, circle, and circle together gives us different melodies. And a little bit to the left, you can actually see we have a cheat sheet for what melodies we want. We can provide buffs to ourselves, our cat, or even our teammates when playing in multiplayer. Now, by pressing the triangle button over and over again, on the top left of the screen that you can see, whenever we do this, we actually strum notes up. To play our notes, we need to press the right trigger. Of course, we want to go for something like attack up small here, though. So to get attack up small, we got to press triangle, and then circle, and then triangle again. Now the notes are strummed in the top left, and all we have to do is press R2 to perform the melody. Attack up small on our cheat sheet is actually highlighted in yellow. We can actually get 2 levels of buff with the hunting horn. So if we strum it up again, we'll actually go to a purple buff. Every button on the hunting horn, triangle, circle, and circle together do a 2-hit combo normally if you don't press back. Now we can chain any of these attacks together, actually. But what's nice is that holding back on the stick actually gets us a hilt jab, which actually makes things quicker, and we can chain any attacks we want, but we can only do a hilt jab every other attack. We can press any button combination and it'll get us the hilt jab. Now by utilizing these shortcuts, we're going to get into some other shortcuts. To get double buffs on your hunting horn is actually pretty simple. We can have 3 melodies queued up at a time. Now by pressing the right trigger and letting the melodies play out, we get all these buffs, but it actually turned into echo wave and sonic waves mostly. If we press the right trigger again though, after all 3, we can get what's known as the Encore. The Encore is a very quick and very damaging move that looks a little different in this game and is much faster. The Encore basically plays all 3 buffs that you already did, all at a moment's notice. And so if we want to attack up small, for instance, we'll queue that up. And then we'll also get fire resistance up. Now by pressing the right trigger, it'll go in order, as you can see on the list on the left. And then if we do the Encore after, we'll get the secondary buff for attack up small and fire resistance small. They already went up to the second buff, highlighted in purple, as you can see on the text on screen. Now let's talk about shortcuts further. Yes, you see these on the ground. These are known as echo bubbles, and we can do them at any point. Pressing X and R2 at the same time will get us the echo bubble. As you can see on the right, the echo bubble effect evasion and movement speed up has been activated. Whenever you or an ally touches us, your evasion and your movement speed will increase. The echo bubbles actually aren't free though. As you can see in the top left, you have 3 little indicators. That's how many echo bubbles you can put down. But when you are doing echo bubbles, you can actually press buttons to store notes while you're doing it, but you can only store up to 3 notes at a time. So if we want to attack up small, for instance, all we have to do is press the white note, the red note, and then the white note while we're doing the echo bubble, like this. Now we already have it strummed up, and so we can just go straight into attack up small, just like that. And of course, let's not forget the Encore. We actually don't have the spin to win move in Monster Hunter anymore. If you know what the spin to win is from Monster Hunter World, yes, it's gone. It is definitely gone, ladies and gentlemen. Next, we have the melody known as the offset melody. Now I'm going to show you the best possible combination you can do. Since we can only play 3 notes while doing the echo bubble, so we're going to press triangle and circle at the same time to get offset melody started. Then we're going to do the echo bubble and play the rest of the melody to get the offset melody completely strummed up. Then we're going to press triangle and circle and R2 at the same time to get the offset melody. It's a bit tough, but once you get your hands on it, the hunting horn is actually super baller. Whenever we do have these echo bubbles placed down also, pressing any button will actually get us extra attacks on all of them. Not one of my favorite most recent weapons, the Lance. Now starting off with the Lance has been given a serious improvement to its evasion. Pressing triangle and over again will get you the mid-thrust attack combo, but now we actually have an addition to it. After doing the mid-thrust 3, we get the triple thrust. Mid-thrust don't do as much damage as high thrust, as you can see. To do a high thrust, we actually just have to press circle button. We can do a combination of 3 attacks as well. We can actually change the trajectory of the Lance attacks by pressing circle or triangle in the combo that we want. Now, in Monster Hunter World, the end of the high thrust was actually the best damage, but they all do 24 damage, as you can see now. The new best way to get damage is actually by doing the mid thrust at the end of attack combos. The mid thrust normally do 20 damage, but as you can see, it did 29 right there. Another follow-up to any of these attack combos is actually by doing the charge counter. We can press circle and hold it down, and we can get a charge counter attack. If we get attacked by a monster while we're doing this, we'll actually deflect the attack and do that attack as you saw. We can also now do the leaping thrust by pressing triangle and circle at the same time at a moment's notice. Another attack combo that you can also do is by pressing triangle and circle in the middle of any of these attacks to get a wide sweep attack. Now the wide sweep attack actually does a considerable amount of damage. We can't actually do the wide sweep without starting a combo first. So the best attack combo for damage would be the high thrust into wide sweep, into mid thrust, into triple thrust. Now let's talk about guarding. Out of guarding, we can do a lot of things. We can do a power guard. While we're holding guard and we press the circle button, we'll go into a power guard. We can do something known as the payback thrust, which does a considerable amount of damage. We can also press triangle to do a guard thrust. We keep our guard up while attacking. But most importantly, we can do the dash attack. While guarding, if you press triangle and circle at the same time, we'll get a dash attack. Now the dash attack actually has levels to the damage that you do. You'll notice you'll get a red glow as you dash further. But if we end it prematurely, it doesn't do as much damage. You can actually do this out of attack combos. With the dash attack, you can also press back and the X button at the same time to stop and turn around. You can even press back and triangle to do a reverse attack. So if you have enough time on your hands and you want better DPS uptime, we can do an unending combo. Okay, the Gunlance. The Gunlance has changed a lot, ladies and gentlemen. The small ammo icons that are normal shelling, we can press the circle button to get shelling damage at any time, which is basically explosive damage that used to do fixed amount of damage, but we do not actually know, as of the beta yet, how this damage scales. Some do seem to think that it does scale off attack damage, but until we get the full game, I'm not committing to saying anything. But as we press the circle button, we'll do some shelling attacks, which actually decrease our icons in the top left. That's because we're expending ammo. If we're guarding with the Gunlance by holding the R2 button, we can press triangle and circle at the same time to get the Wyvern's Fire attack, which has been significantly upgraded in this game. You can actually see that our Wyvern's Fire icon recharges in the top left, and we have access to another one at the same time. While the Wyvern's Fire is recharging, you'll see that our Gunlance is overheated with the hatch open. Now the final shelling is in the middle. That's known as the worm stake. One way to get into the worm stake in the old games was by pressing shelling twice and going into a third one, but that's actually no longer a thing. Now when you are shelling, you actually have different levels of shelling that you can attain. If you hold it down shortly, you'll get a brief damage increase. I'll do all the different levels of shelling with charging in order so you can see the damage differences and how long it takes to actually charge. So the shells individually aren't actually charged anymore. Whenever you're holding it down, you'll actually notice that multiple shells get consumed all at the same time. It depends on how many ticks you hear for how many shells you have in your clip. So we have 6 for instance, you're gonna hear the sound effect 6 times if I charge it all the way up. We can end this prematurely if we want to. We can do 1 shell, and then we can do a few. It's all up to you. And of course, reloading is done by holding the right trigger and pressing circle at the same time. Now, the other simple way to get into the worm stake was by pressing the triangle and circle button at the same time to get the rising slash. Pressing triangle will get us the overhead smash. Pressing triangle again will get us a wide sweep. If we follow this 3-hit attack combo up by pressing triangle again, we'll get the worm stake cannon. Now, whenever we finish a combo off with the wide sweep, that's how we get into our worm stake. We can actually do this now by pressing triangle 2 times and pressing triangle again a 3rd time. Getting into it pretty quickly. We also now have access to unload all of our shelling and our worm stake in one attack combo. After getting the wide sweep, press triangle and circle at the same time, we'll get the worm stake full blast. By pressing R2 and circle in the normal of attack combos, we can actually get a quick reload, but as you'll notice, it only reloads our normal shelling. To get our worm stake, we do have to do a manual reload. However, in Monster Hunter Wilds, we actually have a new way of reloading it. By doing a focus mode attack, we'll actually do the Drake Augur attack, and that'll reload it for us. This is a nice way of being convenient to do a focus mode attack that kind of tenderize the monster, but also get your shelling reloaded for the worm stake cannon. Now, the best attack combo is still indeed the rising slash attack combo. But next, we'll go into the worm stake full blast. Something to actually note too is that we're actually more evasive with our Gunlance with the use of shelling. If we do shelling in a particular direction, we'll actually go toward that direction. We can do this indefinitely, as long as we have shelling. If you're unfamiliar, the switch axe is actually a weapon that goes between axe form and a sword form. By pressing the right trigger, we can actually morph into sword form, or vice versa, to go back into axe form. Our combos in axe form are as follows. We press triangle over and over again, up to 3 times, to get a 4-hit combo. If we press the circle button, we actually get something known as the wild swing. If you don't press the button any further, you'll end prematurely. But if you press circle over and over again, you'll keep the combo going. If we end the wild swing prematurely, we'll get the overhead slash, which goes into our normal triangle attack combo. However, if we get at least 2 attacks in the wild swing and press triangle, we'll get the heavy slam attack, which powers up our axe mode, as you can see with the switch axe kind of glowing. Pressing triangle and circle at the same time gets you an offset rising slash, which can go into any attack combo that you want. While in sword form, we have different combos, and if you notice in the top left, the axe part of our switch axe is powered up from the wild swing combos. But we also have another part of the gauge there as well. The bottom right part of that gauge is powering up our sword mode. That's done by doing sword attacks continuously. So if we press triangle, for instance, a few times, we'll get overhead slash combos, and it's basically an unending combo. And you can see our sword mode's actually getting powered up with the red gauge in the top left. But as we attack, we'll actually expend the energy in our switch axe to get this done. Sword mode requires energy, so it's all about switching between axe form and sword form to keep your energy up. Axe mode replenishes the energy, while sword form utilizes it to greater heights. When we achieve the full red gauge of the sword form, we get a power up. Sword form also has circle attacks as well. Since we have our axe form powered up and we're full on energy, we'll do a combo, and then we'll press right trigger to go in the sword form. By pressing the circle button, that'll fill our sword gauge the fastest. When the sword gauge does get full, all of the energy in the sword is actually replenished. Now, axe form, of course, doesn't do as much damage as sword form, actually, but still has its place and its purposes, as it doesn't utilize energy, and it actually replenishes your energy. So the fastest way to get our sword form charged up is we're going to run in and do a 3-hit combo of triangle. And then we're going to go into circle. And circle again. And then one more triangle attack to finish it off. Next, our biggest damage is by doing the element discharge. Triangle and circle at the same time will get it started, and mashing triangle and circle will actually keep it going. If we end it prematurely, our hunter will back out of it. But if we mash, like I said, of course, we'll get the elemental discharge. After doing the elemental discharge, we actually have a follow-up. To get the best damage possible, we're going to press and hold the right trigger. God damn, that was flashy. Now, for those who don't know, the Charge Blade is actually an extremely complicated weapon, and I highly suggest you don't start with this weapon as your first weapon if you're new to the Monster Hunter series. But first off, Charge Blade has a sword and shield mode, and an axe mode. Pressing triangle over and over will get you a normal attack combo. You can do this as many times as you want. As you attack with the Charge Blade, you'll notice that your sword actually charges up and starts glowing. In the top left, we have vials, as you can see. Vials are used to actually dispel all that energy when we're in axe mode. But to get there, we need to get our empty vials charged to red by doing normal sword attacks, and the fastest way to get those vials charged is by holding down the circle button and get a charged double slash combo. If we start guarding and press the circle button, we'll actually turn that sword energy into vials that we can use. Now the vials are filled in the top left, as you can see. The Charge Blade is actually capable of utilizing these vials in a lot of ways. And since this is not a beginner's guide, we're actually going to cut to the chase. How do we get into said since we can't do the Savage Axe mode? To get into Savage Axe mode, we actually need to get it off of a focus wound strike on a monster or after a perfectly timed guard. On this barrel, it's just not possible. So let's talk about how to get into saed the fastest. The Charge Blade actually remains simple. We hold down the circle button momentarily to get a charged double slash. Then we press triangle to get a shield thrust. And circle again for another double slash. Now our sword is charged up to red. We store the vials by holding the right trigger and pressing circle. This can be done in that combo that I was talking about. So we can do this Charge double slash with circle, triangle and circle. Charge double slash again, and load the vials. You can actually see that our vials are doubly loaded now, which is new in Monster Hunter Wilds, a very cool addition. Now to get into the said, we do need to charge up the shield. We need to use the vials that are stored in the sword and put them into the shield, basically. The fastest way to get the shield charged is by pressing triangle and circle 3 times, and then pressing the right trigger. Our vials basically have been stored into our shield, which allows us access into a more powerful form of the axe form. One of the few ways to get into said now is by pressing the amped elemental discharge, which doesn't actually go straight into it anymore. We have to do a normal amped elemental discharge and then press the same button combination again to get the super amped elemental discharge. Ah, come on, let's see that again. I didn't even hit the barrel with that. All right, let's try again. We'll try from back here. Ooh, the damage is really good still. If you are a beginner, however, I highly recommend that you play this weapon a bunch more because there's a lot more going on that meets the eye that simply just cannot fit in this video. Now, the Insect Glaive is also a very complicated weapon. This is not one of the easier weapons to play in Monster Hunter World, and it's for a good reason. You have a Kinsect on your arm. This is basically a buddy that helps you out by gathering extracts from monsters in certain parts and gets you different buffs depending on where you hit the monster. With this barrel, we are only able to get the red buff, actually. If we hold the R2 button down, we actually have a reticle. It says nothing right now, but as we highlight the barrel, it'll tell us that we get the red buff. From there, it's as simple as pressing triangle to actually shoot your Kinsect out to harvest an extract. Your Kinsect now has a red extract. If you do nothing, it'll return to you, just like that. In the top left, you'll now see we have the red buff. There are 3 buffs total: red buff, white buff, and the orange buff. But we cannot get the white buff and the orange buff in this training area, at least I think. Combos are actually pretty fluid and normal with the Insect Glaive as well. Without the red buff, combos with the Insect Glaive are as follows. Triangle will get us a very simple attack combo, up to 3 times. By pressing the circle button in a neutral state, we can get the white sweep. And then pressing circle again will get us the overhead smash. But we can't do these infinitely. We'll have to switch up into the triangle attack button or the circle attack button combo as we finish the combos. So right here, we can't go into triangle again. We got to go circle. But then we can go triangle again, or we can go circle, and we can keep doing a combination of all these. Now here's where things get interesting. With the Kinsect, let's harvest the extract again. The red buff actually gives our moves better properties. Now our Kinsect will return automatically, or we can hold the right trigger down and press circle to recall it. Now with the red buff, if you're an Insect Glaive main from another game or you played it before, all the combos are actually the same. Nothing's actually been changed a whole lot. Except we have a charge attack now. Pressing circle will do the typical wide sweep, of course. But if we get a level 1 charge attack, we get that bad boy. If we go at level 2, we'll get an even more powered up version. By holding the right trigger and pressing the X button, you can actually get a vault. From here, you can do a mid-air evade by pressing the X button. After pressing the evade, you can actually press triangle to go in a different direction and get another attack. You can even send your Kinsect out from the air by holding R2 and pressing R1. Now what's interesting is that with the descending slash attack, we can actually do it out of midair. But if you do a normal pole vault, you actually don't really have enough time to get the charges. But if we hold down the circle button before we vault, we'll get the descending thrust, which is from other Monster Hunter games like Monster Hunter World. Like I said before, we can only get the red buff here, unfortunately, and as I was using a training area for this video, is a bit of an oversight that I couldn't get the other buffs. But if you do want to learn how to play the Insect Glaive, I am planning on making a guide for all the weapons eventually. But if we're talking about a split moment instance, or if you're trying to get in on a monster, there is a really solid game plan and damage combo that you can do. Assuming you do have the red buff, we're going to vault in and do an aerial mark on the barrel. This gets your Kinsect out and starts attacking. From there, you're going to press triangle over and over again. But while you're pressing triangle, you can actually start holding circle down to get your charges. So as long as you keep the circle button held, you can do your normal triangle attack combo. You're going to finish it like normal, and then let go of circle. Now the light bowgun. It's light because we can run around with this bad boy, unlike the heavy bowgun. Now the light bowgun has a plethora of ammo. If we hold down the L1 button to access our items, whenever we're using a gun, we can actually see the ammo that we can use, and we can press the X or triangle button to select different ammo types. Our normal ammo level 2 with this bad boy is actually rapid fire on this light bowgun. Damage is actually kind of insane too. The first thing to know about the light bowgun is the reticle actually changes depending on how much damage that we're going to do. This orange reticle that you can see is actually the perfect distance we need to do to get good damage. But if we move out a little further, you can see the reticle isn't glowing orange anymore. It actually gets us garbage damage. As you can see with pierce ammo, a mid-range distance is fine, but if we get too close, it changes. But if we go back to normal ammo, up close is fine. Same thing goes for spread ammo. At a distance, not very good. But if we get up close to this bad boy, we got a straight up shotgun. We also have access to paralysis ammo, freeze ammo, thunder ammo, recovery ammo to shoot your teammates, and even armor ammo to shoot your teammates with. Pretty sick stuff. Something to note with the recovery and the armor ammo, however, though, is that it's actually an AoE now that allies can run through. Pretty cool stuff, huh? Same thing goes with the armor ammo. Pressing triangle and circle at the same time will utilize your special ammo. It's in the bottom right, as you can see right above our ammo. This is known as our Wyvern Blast. A Wyvern Blast can be fired or a monster can run into it, and we'll get really good damage off of it. It can trigger up to a few times. Well, quite literally 3 times, actually. And it recovers over time with a little bit of a cooldown. Our other ammo down there is actually our Focus Strike. Holding the left trigger with any weapon puts you into focus mode, of course, but with bowguns, you're actually already aiming. So pressing R1 will actually use the Focus Blast. You can press the R1 button to shoot a quick shot, or you can even charge it up by holding down the R1 button. You can hold it down as long as you want. It does more damage, and you can get into better position, probably. Now let's talk about the light bowgun's special new mechanic, the rapid fire energy. Pressing circle will pretty much put a big drum magazine on our light bowgun. It enhances all of our shots. It uses this energy up as we shoot. We can fire a shot, and then we can even move in a direction and do a dodge, but it'll actually get us another attack. There's actually a combo with this attack. We can't just keep doing dodges and getting attacks. As you'll see right here, we'll shoot, we'll do it again, but if we dodge again, it actually doesn't do anything. After shooting with the rapid fire energy, we can press the circle button to do the rapid chaser shot. So there is actually a combo with the light bowgun. We're going to fire like normal, move in, and then do the chaser shot. Whenever you're not using the rapid fire energy, whenever you shoot, it actually replenishes the gauge faster for you. It also rebuilds over time though. So if you were to do a combo, you put a Wyvern Blast down, and you'd have your rapid fire energy on. From there, you try to aim to hit the blast and the monster at the same time, and then do the charging shot into the chaser shot. That seems to be the best damage that you can do with the light bowgun. That's actually still a combo as well. The heavy bowgun also has a plethora of special ammos. This heavy bowgun can use slicing ammo, which you can shoot at a monster's tail to actually get slicing damage to cut the tail. Wow, that does a lot of damage. Holy shit! Next up, we have sticky ammo, which in previous Monster Hunter games can knock out monsters and made heavy bowgun one of the best knockout monsters, even compared to the hammer. Wyvern ammo is also a thing. It wasn't really useful in past games, but who knows about this game? Being up close will get us big damage. Demon ammo is also a thing, just like the buffs from the light bowgun, and is also an AoE. Now, the special ammo with the heavy bowgun is a little bit different, that being the Wyvern Heart Ignition. This turns your heavy bowgun into a straight-up submachine gun. You'll notice that the damage actually isn't very good at first, but if you can continuously fire with it, the damage will get better, starting with 7.9 into 16.4. Utilizing your special ammo, you can actually hold down the triangle button to get a Wyvern Counter Ignition. This is a move that can counter enemies' attacks, and you can even charge it and hold it down. It doesn't use all your meter though. Or you can even shoot off a quick blast. All things considered, if you have enough time for it, getting the whole Wyvern Heart ignition off the normal way is the best way to go. But don't forget your demon ammo. The bow is a relatively simple weapon. It's a mix of range, but it feels like a melee weapon. Pressing the right trigger a few times will get us upgraded bow shots every single time we press it in succession. Go from level 1, which is a normal shot, to level 2, to level 3. You can also hold down your shot to get up to level 3. You can also press the circle button to get a quick shot, which fires 3 arrows very fast. And then we can press circle to do a power shot, which does a considerable amount of damage as well. But the quick shot is a bit better up close, so if you're at a distance, you're better just sticking to normal arrows. The Dragon Piercer is also done by pressing triangle and circle at the same time. This takes a little to wind up, but does good damage. If we get a charge going before we press triangle and circle, it actually changes to the 1,000 Dragons. This is a spread shot akin to the circle power shot, which also does great damage. Now, something interesting with the bow, we actually have access to coatings, power coating and poison coating on this bow. While we have power coating equipped, pressing triangle will equip the coating. Right above where it says 8 out of 8 on the power coating is actually our bow's new meter. Utilizing the meter is actually utilizing coatings. So now that we have power coating equipped, our bow shots will do even more damage. But as you see, our power coating dwindles every time. To get more power coating, we have to actually utilize the meter. Now, while we're charging the bow, the same meter can also be used to press square to ready the tracer shot. This is a shot that sticks right in a monster and stays there for a little while. Shooting the tracer shot will actually get you more damage. While a tracer shot is in a monster, we can actually shoot in any direction, and it'll home in on the monster, ladies and gentlemen. Now, one thing to note, though, is if you do have a tracer shot in the monster, you can't actually get another tracer shot in. It'll overwrite the first one. Now, to get the best damage out of the bow, we're going to utilize our power coating. We're going to knock and loose our tracer arrow. Then we're going to get a few volleys of shots into a Dragon Piercer. Huge damage, ladies and gentlemen. The bow also has a focus attack, known as the Focus Fire Hailstorm. By itself, it doesn't really do much. We need the tracer arrow knocked and loose as well. Then if we get into the focus mode reticle, you'll see that there's a triangle reticle that actually lights up over time, as long as you hold it down. If you do the focus fire too early, it doesn't amount to much. If you hold it down long enough, though, big damage. Something else that's also notable about the bow is that we now have access to the Flying Swallow shot. Out of a charging sidestep, you can press the triangle button in any direction to get a jump attack. Pretty sick, if you ask me. There you have it, Terra Knights, the best combos for every single weapon, or just the best mechanics. Like I said in the beginning of the video, combos aren't really existent for some of these weapons in Monster Hunter, but typically most weapons have a lot of combo routes in this series. Even the Greatsword technically has its true charge slash combo route, which hasn't really changed much. But that's all I've got for today's video, Terra Knights. I'm very, very, very happy to have brought you the first legitimate gameplay guide for Monster Hunter Wilds on this channel, guys and gals. Now, if you're not in the know, I actually stream Monster Hunter World on a weekly basis, Thursday through Sunday. I stream both on Twitch and here on YouTube. So no matter the platform of your choice, come stop by and tell me what you liked about this video. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. We're on our way to a goal of 30,000 subscribers before the release of Monster Hunter Wilds, and every bit helps. Or even consider joining our awesome Discord community. And now that we've finally gotten our hands on the beta, what weapon combination are you using in the beta? But like I said before, that is everything I got for today, Terra Knights. I'm signing off. This has been Terroriza, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace!